Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see your founder at least twice a day. I say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the Business Problem Podcast, you have some good news. Porsche working hard to save the stick shifts. Also known as the manual transmission, also known as having 3 pedals, also known as the best way to drive a vehicle, bar none. And yes, I include SUVs, trucks, every type of vehicle is always more fun to drive when it has 3 pedals, which inevitably means it'll be hard for me to ever get an SUV because they stopped making those with 3 pedals around 2009, which, incidentally enough, was a Porsche with a V8, which, pretty cool. I take that back. They did have the V6 SUV a couple years later, but I'd rather get the V8, but that's just me. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Nico over at The Drive. Says, quote, Porsche is working hard to save the manuals, 911 and 718, boss says. Porsche's Frank Mosher says the company intends to keep offering manuals as long as the current sports cars exist, which, I mean, lately there's been a lot of sad headlines, a lot of rough times, but, I'm in no financial way to actually afford a Porsche at this point, except perhaps a Porsche model that I can put on my desk. Although even Lego's getting pricey, I partially digress. But this still warms the heart. In a world that's acquiescing to automatic transmission, EVs, and soulless computers on wheels, there are still very few, but there are still companies dedicated to having a third pedal. And shoot, look at the pony car wars. The Chevrolet Camaro is going to come back as apparently a 2-door EV SUV. And then the Dodge Charger, well, that's going to be an EV Charger or a straight 6 ICE engine with no stick shift. Safe to say that the Mustang, which still to this day offers a V8 and 6 shift, did win the pony wars. But in terms of, not anything against wrong about Mustangs, gotta clear out those crowds at an auto show somehow. But if you want like a higher end sports cars, there's very few left with stick shift. You do have Aston Martin, appreciate them doing that, but all the other ones have acquiesced to boringness. You got, Lamborghini, nope. Ferrari, nope. Maserati, nope. Even the Corvette, a staple of Americana, as American as apple pie and, baseball. Well, they've acquiesced to automatic only, which is viscerally disgusting, as pretty much every Corvette since the dawn of, when the inception of 1953 had the option for the third pedal. But I partially digress. Going back to Porsche, if you're only tuning in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you are missing out on this. It's not a work of art per se, but it's a picture of the inside of a Porsche 911, and it looks just beautiful. So definitely tune into this on rumble.com or I guess YouTube if it's still there, unless it gets taken down mysteriously, as it tends to do from time to time. But there you can see the nice Porsche wheel. Then you can see that iconic stick shift to the right in the center column, showing that you do know you have 3 pedals, which, granted, every Porsche should have 3 pedals by default, but I partially digress. Now, getting into the specifics, they say, quote, Sony needs to send Porsche executives a free Save Manuals t-shirt because they seem to be aligned with the cause. During a recent roundtable interview attended by The Drive, again, that's from the website that's posting this, Porsche 911 and 17 boss Frank Mosher said not only will the brand continue to sell vehicles with manuals, but hopes to do so until at least the end of the generation of sports cars made by Porsche. That's key, best because ever-tightening emissions regulations have threatened to kill off the third pedal in some models even more quickly than anticipated. Which, I think this has become a political issue and cultural issue. It's also, it was globalist, because again, the European Union, they go, you can't make the Cayman anymore with a stick shift in Europe because of cybersecurity issues, aka they want more control. It's got too much emissions for this car. You gotta kill it too. Even though no one ever stops China from India for manufacturing pretty much darn near everything, including more than anyone else combined. But yeah, we can't have a fun car with 3 pedals. Disgusting, un-American. Now they say, quote, and again, this is from Mosher. Manual transmission is always the way the customer wants the 911, so we have been and working with as long as possible to save manuals. It's absolutely relevant to the 911. That's why we have the 911T with a manual gear shift and now the 911 ST with a stick shift. It's really because customers want a stick shift. Which, here's an even better picture. It's, granted the bar's pretty low compared to modern art. That's mostly crap, but I believe this should be a poster. That is a beautiful picture of the Porsche Boxster Spider, the stick shift, as they should all have by default. Looks beautiful. A thing is simplicity. Even the steering wheel doesn't have 58 buttons on it. It's more track oriented. There's none of that fancy doodads or whiz bangs, which are words I don't think have been spoken since the 1940s. but nevertheless. Continuing with the article, they say, of course, Porsche isn't the only automaker still selling manuals. Well, this is funny, which they do compare it to, the Honda Civic Si and Type R also have it, which they do. And I love my Gen 10 Honda Civic Si. Unfortunately, they don't even make it in a coupe anymore. But let's be honest, that's not in the same stratosphere as a Porsche. They also note it, and again, they say the list goes on and on. This isn't that big of a sports car list. They also note the BMW M2, which BMW, I mean, they promised the M3 is gonna be that will for sure have a gas engine and stick shift, but I mean they are moving away from it more and more. They also have the Toyota Corolla GR and the GR86, which I'm surprised actually they failed to mention the good old Porsche. Well, not the Porsche, rather, good old Toyota Supra, which I kind of joke is also BMW. Same factory, different body panels, and it is slightly different. But yeah, looks like they also say, quote, however, don't expect manuals to stick around once electrification becomes the norm. Ugh. Which Toyota, they actually do have, they successfully got the patent for an EV with a third pedal and the software and technology to basically mimic having a stick shift, which part of me just thinks let it die with dignity in terms of the platform of the stick shift. It'll be interesting to see what the consumer adoption is for that and how many of them really like it. There you can see an even better picture of the Porsche 911T with the interior with that iconic stick shift. There's very few automotive articles that make me smile this much. It's been quite some time. And again, one of the most mentally vacuous things that Ferrari has done, a company renowned for printing money and doing whatever it takes to milk the customers every dollar they have, the fact they don't make a stick shift is so stupid. You look at quote unquote vintage Ferraris from the early, late 2000s eras. I mean, the stick shift models, same with Lamborghini, they're selling for 2 to 3 times more than the automatic ones. It seems like easy money, and yet very few companies are still doing it. Now, I'll be interested to see. Shoot, if I win lottery, I would definitely buy a Porsche 911 with a stick shift. Shoot, and again, in terms of maximizing the profits, they also have all those programs for choosing all of your colors, very similar to the Rolls-Royce color program, where you can spend, like for Porsche, which admittedly I spent a disproportionate amount of my time on the Porsche configurator. I mean, you can spend $40,000 for a custom color that only you get, and you can make it as specific as you want. I think they have like 35 different shades of green, which shoot, I'd love to get that. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how many people, latch on to this, and how long could they keep it alive, as again, you have the government interfering with them, and you do have some consumer sentiments shifting, unmoderately intended. But let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.